пишу «Ввести».
Okay, enter, burn.
О, 20.0.
Да, 128.0.
128.0. Okay, 128.0. Right, because you're going to automatically set it to 115.2, so you need to change it to 128. Okay, so enter different time for TSKD on. Or actually at TSKD duration of firing. Instead of 115.2 seconds, it needs to be 128.
As we continue to take a look at Mission Control Moscow, once again we have a number of International Space Station program officials and dignitaries, as well as NASA Public Affairs Officer Rob Navius at the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan, where the officials and the families of the crew members have all been eagerly watching the launch, rendezvous, and docking, and everything is looking very good so far as the trio of crew members is just waiting for hatch pressures to equalize so that they can come aboard. Let's go out to Rob Navius for an update now on what's going on at the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Kelly, thanks, and welcome back to Baikonur, Kazakhstan, and a venerable old military hall called the Tsenki Hall here in Baikonur. That is the venue for the families and invited guests and VIPs and dignitaries here today who have been asked to come here to watch the docking and the hatch opening so Expedition 36 can double in size. Just 7 hours ago, this crew lifted off in a spectacular launch from at the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. With me today, Bill Gerstenmaier, NASA's Associate Administrator for Human Exploration and Operations. And Bill, we talked earlier this morning, what an amazing launch. It just hit you in the gut, as it always does. But your impressions of that, and here we are about to have the crew double in size.
It was pretty amazing today when we got to see the video of the docking, to see that Soyuz that we had just seen on the launch pad and just seen it lift off, to be there in space, approaching the space station. And as I said earlier this morning, the other thing that was amazing was we got to see space station fly overhead about 4 minutes before the launch. So to see that little white dot, which is space station with their 3 crew on board, and then to see the Soyuz arriving to that little white dot in space is just phenomenal. So, you know, we talk about orbital mechanics, we think about physics, we think about all the math that sits behind this, but then when you see with your own eyes and you feel the launch, you see the video, you can actually perceive what's going on, and to put real reality to that mathematics is pretty amazing to watch what just occurred here, and to have the crew open the hatch and get to be there as a crew of 6 will be just phenomenal.
You mentioned a few minutes ago about the history inside this building. Here we are in Baikonur, the birthplace of human spaceflight, basically, and outside murals and paintings that just epitomize the entire history of Russian spaceflight. They're very proud in their tradition.
Yeah, it's tremendous walking around here looking at the paintings and pictures on the walls of all the famous people from Russian spaceflight history. Some of the venue is just amazing. And then you can see also they have some pictures of new things in Baikonur, of kids running in races and doing bicycle races and swimming. So they really celebrate kind of the whole city. So it's clearly a city of spaceflight, clearly a city of pushing technology and new things, but they also recognize day-to-day life and human things that go on here as well. So a very special venue to be here, and to be here with this high-tech setup we've got where we can actually be here talking to you and streaming back to Houston is pretty amazing. So you see this amazing history on the walls, and then you see the amazing technology, and you link those together, and that's really the best of the space program.
And what Bill is alluding to is our NASA communications specialists here in Baikonur who support Russian services in Moscow as well. They have 2 laptop computers, one projecting NASA television under the front screen for the assembled guests, and one is actually hooked up to voice loops, which a few minutes from now will be used by the VIPs, Bill, Jean-Jacques Dordain, the Director General of the European Space Agency, and family members to talk to the crew members on orbit from here in Baikonur, Kazakhstan. Just amazing. It never ceases to wonder at the ability of technology today. If you look at Kazakhstan, we're in basically a fairly desolate area of the world, and yet we are linked to the International Space Station, and that's just remarkable.
It's absolutely amazing when I think of the technology and the expertise that goes into making all this happen. And again, you know, our folks and teams make all this activity look easy, but it is not easy by any stretch of the imagination. And I really tip my hat to all the experts that have done just a phenomenal job of getting all this stuff ready and prepared to make this a really special event for all of us here in Baikonur.
And just to put the punctuation mark on that, our trip back to Moscow today will actually take longer than it did for this crew to reach the International Space Station today. With that, we'll turn it back to you, Kelly, for hatch opening coming up momentarily.
Back now with coverage of the activities inside the Mission Control Center in Houston, where we are eagerly awaiting the completion of pressure checks and hatch leak checks between the Soyuz 35 spacecraft and the International Space Station. The Rosvet module at the Earth-facing port of the Zarya Control Module was the arrival point when the Soyuz containing Soyuz TMA-09M Commander Fyodor Yurshikin, NASA astronaut Karen Nyberg, and European Space Agency astronaut Luca Parmitano arrived at the International Space Station by the clock officially at 9:10 and 34 seconds p.m. Central Time, following a 6-hour chase of the International Space Station that went flawlessly. Following a launch from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan on the dot at 3:31 p.m. Central Time. A number of dignitaries, in addition to Bill Gerstenmaier, on hand there at the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. And we are anticipating a call from those dignitaries and the family members. They're in the viewing room at the Baikonur Cosmodrome to the International Space Station as soon as these leak checks and pressure checks are completed and the 3 new crew members are able to enter the International Space Station.
Олимп, ожидаем от вас 20-минутный замер.
Olymp, give us the 20-minute measurement, please.
746 ровно.
7:46 even.
746 принято.
7:46, copy.
как меня из ГА слышно? Отлично, получилось.
Sasha, how do you read me from the pressurized adapter? Loud and clear.
Давай.
Okay, the loudspeaker in here is on, so copy. Pavel, I will be joining you momentarily. Okay, go ahead.
Ребята, у нас есть Q-band, мы вас видим.
And guys, we have KU at this time, and we're getting live video.
Что, можем открывать люк?
Excellent. Are we going to open the hatch then?
Ну, верхний зал должен сказать.
That decision needs to come from Soyuz flight control team. Okay, we'll stand by for their go.
Олимпу, СУПу Москву. Ожидаем очередной.
Olympus, Mission Control Moscow. Next measurement, please.
Принял 7:40.
746. 746, copy.
Олимпу, я ЦУП Москву.
Olympus, Mission Control.
Ранним замером.
Go ahead.
Считается герметично.
We believe that with the result of these measurements, we are pressure tight. You can close KKT and start performing 10.3 to 9.3 to perform expedited pressure equalization. Copy 9.3. And please remember to close KKT before you start that step. It's already closed. Okay.
Лука, скажи мне давление ОБ.
And Luca, can you give me station pressure, please?
Шесть, 696.
696.
Так, Лука,
696.
книжка орбитальный полет.
Luca, can you give me orbital flight ODF, page 82,
10.9.3.
step 10.9.3.
Федор Николаевич, у нас давление от утра было 752.
Fedor Nikolaevich, this morning our pressure was 752
Смотри, какое давление.
already. Luca, can you check the pressure again, please?
Понятно. Самое, Саш, дай свои...
Copy, Sasha.